Hi my dear friends, today we will discuss 8237, that is DMA, that is Direct Memory Access. DMA stands for what? Direct Memory Access. Direct memory access is a method of allowing the data to be moved from one location to another in a without intervention of from the central processing unit. Remember, without intervention of the processor, we are allowing data to be moved from one location to the another location, and it is also a fast way of transferring data within the computer. It is by using this we can allow the transfer the data very fast using this DMA. And DMA IO technique provides direct access to the memory while the microprocessor is temporarily disabled. Right? See, this is DMA IO technique. It provides direct access to the memory. We can access the memory without using microprocessor. Right? The DMA controller temporarily borrows the address bus, the data bus, and control bus from the microprocessor and transfer the data directly from the external devices. Remember students, directly from the external devices to a series of memory locations, right? What is the use of DMA? By using this DMA, we can allowing the data to be moved from one location to the another location without intervention from the central processing unit, right? Next, by using this we can transfer the data very fastly, within the microprocessor, and it provides direct access to the memory. DMA IO is provides direct access to the memory while the microprocessor is temporarily disabled, right? So now coming to the coming to the basic DMA operation. Basic DMA operation. First, two control signals are used. We are using two control signals. Two control signals are used to request and acknowledge a direct memory access transfer in the microprocessor based system. So two control signals. What are the control signals? First one is hold signal and the second one is HLDA, hold acknowledgement signals. First one is what? Hold. That is hold, HOLD. So in DMA operation we use two signals, control signals. By using this we can request and acknowledge the DMA transfer in the microprocessor based system. So what are the two signals? First one is hold and second one is hold acknowledgement, right? So first hold. Hold signal as an interrupt is used to request a DMA action. Hold signal as an input, that is input to what? Input to the processor. As an input to the processor is used to request, in order to request DMA action, Remember, HOLD, hold signal as an input to the processor is used to request DMA. If you want to operate with using DMA, then we have to give this hold signal. And next one, what is the next signal? Next signal is HLDA. Next signal is what? HLDA, hold acknowledgement. Hold acknowledgement signal as an output. Remember, as an output that acknowledges the DMA action. So This one is used to request to not to give the request to the DMA. Old acknowledgement signal is output that acknowledges the DMA action. Suppose, see, I want the requirement of DMA. Then you give the signal as hold. If you want to give the acknowledgement, then it gives HLDA. So when the processor recognizes the hold, it stops the execution and enters the hold cycle. Remember, when the processor recognizes the hold, it stops its execution and enters into the hold cycle. Hold input has highest priority than INTR or NMI. Remember, very important. Hold is input has highest priority than we are having two interrupts, that is what, INTR and NMI, non-maskable interrupter. So this is that much importance is given to this hold. The only microprocessor pin that has highest priority than a hold is the reset pin. See, and another one is the compared to hold, this reset is also very highest interrupt. Highest priority is reset. So HLDA becomes active to indicate the processor has placed its buses at high impedance state. Process step is high impedance state. So my dear students, please try to understand. So what is the use of DMA? By using the DMA, direct memory access, the name itself it is telling the direct memory access. That means by using DMA, it is a method of allowing the data to be moved from one location to another in a computer without interference of the CPU. And it also a fast way of transferring the data within the computer. The DMA IO technique provides direct access to the memory while the microprocessor is temporarily disabled. Right now, so there are compared to two signals, hold and hold acknowledgement. Hold signal is for input used to request DMA action. Hold acknowledgement signal is output that acknowledges the DMA action. Right. So compared to interrupt and NMI, hold is highest priority. Compared to hold, the reset is very highest priority in 8086 microprocessor. Right. So this direct memory access normally occur between IO device and memory without use the microprocessor. Remember, this is very important. Direct memory access normally occur between IO device and memory without the use of microprocessor. That means a DMA read transfer data from the memory to the IO device. The first one is what? A DMA read transfers data from the memory to the IO device, and second one, a DMA write transfers data from an IO device to memory. So the system contains a separate memory and IO control signals. Hence, the memory and IO are controlled simultaneously. Remember, the system contains separate memory and IO control signals. So therefore, the memory and IO are controlled simultaneously. The DMA controller provides memory with its address, and the controller signal selects the IO device during the transfer. If you see the block diagram, once we go for the 8237 block diagram, see, this is the block diagram of 8237. See here, what are the blocks? First, timing and control. First one is what? Timing and control, and priority encoder and rotating priority logic. So here we are using decrementer and increment and decrementer, that is temporary address register 16. This is word count register 16, and this can go for read buffer, read write buffer, and there is an internal data bus. From this we are having mode, status and temporary, and command, mask and request. So here we are using IO buffer, output buffer, and command control. So to improve the data transfer rate in a system which must transfer the data from IO device to memory or move a block of memory to upper IO device. So it will also perform memory to memory block moves or fill a block of memory with a data from a single location. So by using this, operating modes are provided to handle single byte data transfers as well as discontinuous data streams, which allows the 8237 to control the data movement with software transparency. So direct memory access allows devices to transfer the data without subjecting the processor a heavy overhead. Otherwise, the processor, if you see, the processor would have to copy each piece of data from the source to the destination. This is typically slower than copying normal blocks of memory, since access to IO device over a peripheral bus is generally slower than the normal system RAM. So during this time, so the processor would be unavailable for any other task involving processor bus access. So, but it can be continued to work on any work which does not require bus access. By using these DMA transfers are essentials for high performance embedded systems where large data of need to be transferred from input output devices to the primary memory. So this is the operation of 8237 DMA controller, right? So there is a bus master mode and bus slave mode, and then we have to discuss when the DMA controller sees a DMA request, it responds by performing one or many data transfers from that IO device to into system memory or vice versa. So by using this 8237 DMA, we can copy the data from one location to another location without intervention of the microprocessor, right? Now we will discuss what are the steps DMA controller operation steps in a typical DMA cycle. The first one is device wishing to perform DMA as processor bus request signal. First, processor complete the current bus cycle and then asserts the bus grant signal to the device. That is the first one. That means processor completes the current bus cycle and then asserts the bus grant signal to the device. Second one, the device then assess the bus grant acknowledge signal. Third one, the processor senses in the change in the state of bus grant acknowledge signal and starts listening to the data and address bus for DMA activity. And next, fourth one, the DMA device performs the transfer from source to destination address. Right? Now, next, fifth one, during these transfers, the processor monitors the address on the bus and checks if any location modified during DMA operation is cached in the processor. If the processor detects the cached address on the bus, it can take one of the two actions, that is, processor invalidates the internal cache entry for the address involved in DMA write operation, and the processor updates the internal cache when DMA write is detected, right? Now sixth one is, once the DMA operation have been completed, the device releases the bus by asserting the bus release signal, and the last one is, processor acknowledges the bus release and resumes its bus cycle from point it left off, So these are the DMA controller operation steps in a typical DMA cycle, right? Totally 7 steps. So try to understand all these 7, and you have to go for the block diagram. This is very important in the exam. If you not ask the block diagram, but remembering is very easy. First timing and control, priority level encoders, decrement, increment, decrementer. This can be the read buffer, read write buffer, command, mask, request, and here mode status temporary, right? Internal data bus A8 to A15. So in this way we can conclude this DMA controller. Till then, thank you my dear friends.